Welcome to Caranimal Gaming. Here's another Minecraft video from last week's Monday Minecraft Twitch live stream. If you guys do like the video, make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new and would like to see more content like this, and let me know what you think in the comments. The main objective today is to get the automatic sorter built in, figured out where we're going to be putting all of our chests, and kind of organizing that and trying to get some of our inventory gone through the sorter so we can kind of clean up some of our shulker box messes everywhere. There's no way you built this by yourself. Yep, I did. This is just a tip of the iceberg though. But yeah, I spent many hours carving this whole thing out. It was actually like all the way up to the bottom of the floor. I had to drain it, and yeah, it was a lot of fun, a lot of work though. Okay, let's go ahead and figure out where we're going to be putting these chests. The back wall, I believe, is right here, and I kind of only want one chest basically sticking out. I don't think I want both the chests out. This is the wall. Let's just place that there for now. Yeah. All right, so let's make sure. So we have basically enough room under here because this is going to be the floor, right? So we want to have this raised up a little bit for the floor. What I like to do is I make this into my redstone block, one because it's red, and then I smooth it. And the reason why I smooth it is so if I'm ever mining into something, when I'm, mining around or whatever, and I see a smooth granite, I know not to mine into it. That's kind of the reason why I do that. All right. What I want to try to do is figure out a way to get as many chests back here as I possibly can to store these shards, and then maybe I won't have to create more than one or more than two, but I definitely need a decent amount of space in here. The crystals does not stock up as much, and the fact that you have to use 5 crystals for every 4 shards to get the sea lanterns, which honestly, that's the only reason or only purpose for the crystals, is to build the sea lanterns. So first things first, we're gonna have some kind of wall over the top of this or something. So I want the main hopper to be facing inward towards the chest right here. So that's the spot that we have to work with. My main thought is I could put a chest here and then have it go out, but that's going to eliminate a whole bunch of space right here. So what I'm thinking is maybe if I go out, I can actually utilize this a little bit better. So let's go all the way back to here, and then if I put chests lining up right here, all the way up to that point. So let's see here, what else can we do here? And if we need to go back more, we can go back more later, and this should be, the way that I'm building this, it should be expandable if we need to. But let's go ahead and put on some more hoppers right here. How many does that give us? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16. So it's expanded out a little bit more. And with this space that we have, honestly, might be able to. Okay, so what we have to do is watch out for the hoppers being near any kind of redstone. If you're gonna build an automatic sorter like this, I would definitely recommend having a iron farm in your world, so you can AFK it for a little bit, get the iron that you need. That's exactly what I did to get all the iron that I have, because the amount of iron that you need in this is quite a bit when it comes to all these hoppers. So definitely make sure to get an iron farm. And if you guys want an additional video, I think I have some videos of iron farm in my playlist and stuff like that on YouTube. But I could definitely make another video as well on how the mechanics work and all that stuff. So let me know if that's something you guys are interested in. All right, we're gonna actually utilize this because we want to do a line all the way over here, right? And what I can do is actually put hopper going back into that, so it's like one extra chest in there. All the space that we possibly can get in this would be the best. And again, the reason why we're building this one so big is because when you're AFKing around here, or just in your base, when you have an ocean monument base, you're gonna collect a lot of shards very quickly. All right, so let's build this out, see where we need this to go. And again, I'm putting a chest right here because you don't want a hopper to go in front of the redstone torch that we have that's going to go right here. And get rid of this temporary block. Put that right there, going down into that chest. Okay, and so what we're going to end up doing is we're going to be switching this one out. So what I'm going to do is actually cut this off for now. Hopefully I grabbed my 4 specifically. Okay, perfect. Because these ones, I don't know if you noticed, but they are named something else than a prismarine shard. And we'll talk about that here in just a second. But let's go ahead and talk about the circuit that we use for each item that's going to be coming through your sorter. Each item is going to have a circuit that consists of 1 redstone torch, 1 repeater, 2 redstone dust, and a comparator. The comparator will compare the items that are coming through the hopper that's right here, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But here's how we put together the circuit for the items that are going to be coming through your sorter. First, we put the comparator facing outward with the 2 redstone dust right here on some solid blocks. Then we place a repeater set to 1 tick going into this block. And then we have the redstone torch. The redstone torch is going to turn on and off the hopper that's located right here to be able to go into the chest that we've sent it to. The hopper with the comparator next to it will have 4 items that we'll use as a medium, and then 18 items that we'll use to select for the item that we want to be sorted out. The medium item needs to be something that will not go through the sorter, or something that is named, like I used the shard and named it Y. That way, only the items that we want to filter out will go to the chest where we want it to go. Right here, I've placed the hopper, which I want to be next to the comparator. I put 1 of each of my medium item of choice. And then as you see, the filter already automatically started getting prismarine shards, which will eventually work its way up to 18, go through the hopper system down to where the chests are going to go. And now we can clean up all of these shards and crystals and things like that and get them moved to their right place over here. Now we have plenty of room with a whole bunch of hoppers that have at least 5 spaces and tons of chests to be able to collect all the prismarine shards that we're going to be going through our guardian farm. Again, in a ocean monument base, we get loads of crystals and shards, so we want to make sure that we have plenty of inventory space for those kind of items. Now that we've taken care of one of the items that has the most volume coming through our sorter, now we can start working on the other items that might not have as much volume, but we got to make sure to have at least enough inventory to take care of the items that we're going to be collecting throughout the time that we're in this world. Each world is different, and every sorter that you might create might be different as well. Make sure that you have enough room to place the amount of chests that you're going to need, or make sure that there's a room that you can expand it maybe later on to fit the needs that you might not foresee in the moment that you're building it. Always make sure to place your hoppers going directly into the chest that you want it to go, and make sure not to put hoppers on top of other hoppers that you don't want them to unload into. Because if you put one hopper on top of another hopper, those items will automatically start filtering down into a place that you might not want it to go. And when it comes to a sorter, if you have the room and you have the resources, always make sure that you're using as much as you possibly can. That way you don't have to come back later on and replace or expand if you don't have to. It's always better to have a bigger inventory space than a smaller one that might have to be adjusted later on. Alright, so let's get this in here. Okay, so we have this one is now being transferred. I think I got it transferred, right? Let's double check that, make sure. Going in, right? Yeah. Perfect. It's already collecting. Let's see how much is in here already. I'm telling you, these prismarine shards in this area, especially when you're like in a specific sweet spot of the base, like, man, it'll collect them so fast. Doesn't even, blows my mind. And then you have this thing going off every 5 seconds with fish. I mean, so far with all the farms that we have, it's all automatic. Nothing that you really have to do. And like you can see that there's not a lot of lag, which is the best part. Now that you got your next circuit built, what you're going to want to do is make sure that you're mapping out where you want your inventory to go. Me personally, I think that what we're going to end up doing is prismarine blocks. Eventually, at the end of this, we're going to have a line of hoppers going over to the side over here. And this is the main hopper system that goes into the sorter. And we're going to make a bubble column probably over here somewhere that's going to go up into that and eventually go through. So when we're in this base area and we want to send something up to the sorter or put something through the sorter, all we're gonna have to do is access the chest or shulker box, whatever we're gonna put in here, that's gonna go down into the hopper line that's gonna be below the floor over to the bubble column, and it'll make its rounds over to where it needs to go. So that's the future of that. But the next thing that I would look at when picking your next couple of items that you're going to be sorting out, what I would look at is what's already coming through your overage, your section here. Most of this is probably from me building the fish farm and stuff like that. But we do have items like your Nautilus shell, which I think doesn't really necessarily need its own spot, so we're not gonna do that one. But I'm looking at ink sacs, I think would be a good one. Bones would be a really good one. I'm already collecting a whole bunch of bones. And I think with the fish, it's one of the highest ones. Maybe rotten flesh, just because we have been getting a lot of mobs coming through here. But like those are the kind of like the main items. So we have like a lot of bones. And like I said, I've already cleaned out a lot of those already. Kelp could be a good one, but I do have plans for the kelp because I do want to basically get it put into a smelter, some kind of automatic smelter, so eventually only the dry kelp is actually going to be coming out, so that way we can use it for fuel, which eventually will just refuel itself. We'll get to that eventually, no worries. Perfect. Okay, so now we get into the complicated spot here. First off, we're gonna figure out where we're gonna put our items. Clear out a little bit of this space here, and then we're gonna map this out and figure out exactly where we're gonna put it all. Question is, am I gonna have to change this line out? Might actually be a good idea. Because another thing you could do with sorters is you don't have to have it a straight line all the time. It's just sometimes it's better to have it that way just because it's less materials that you have to use. But you can change it and move it around as long as it doesn't conflict with other hopper systems that you have in place. As long as your hoppers are going into where they need to go, it should be fine. So in this case, we need to change this hopper to go into that one. Go into that one. Okay. This will give us a little bit more room to work with here. Okay, so let's see here. We got to figure this out. We got our 6 spots of items. We have 6 things there. The first item that we can do is an item. I think I'm going to do the dried kelp. So that's going to be this one. Bam, bam. Okay. So that's going to be our dried kelp section. So we're going to do something for our runoff here. No, I have to go this. Okay, let this go all the way out here. Hoppers are one of my favorite items, and I've said that multiple times through many live streams, but they are literally my favorite items in the game. They make things so fun. You're able to do so many things, and like so many people like use like water streams and stuff like that in lieu of using hoppers in a lot of cases. Personally, I feel like you're risking losing items, which I'm like, I don't want to lose items. And some people are okay with losing items, but I don't know. Okay, so we can't put a hopper going down right here, but we want to have basically hoppers going down in certain areas. You know, like right here, if I put a hopper going down, it's going to fill up this hopper going down first. Like here, let me just put one there. Hopefully that's the spot we're going to have to use it. Okay, so like, let's say that this hopper gets all the way filled, right? All the way, like from the chest all the way up, it's going to be completely filled. Anything that goes up to this point and over is going to eventually work its way over into this section right here, which will get turned into or go into the furnace that will get smelted into a different item. Like let's say that this one's sand. If the sand gets all the way filled up, then it's all the extra sand is gonna go over here, get smelted into glass, and then it's gonna come back into the glass section. That's kind of what we're going for. And speaking of glass and all that good stuff, let's figure out what our next 5 items we got. Dried kelp is done. This kelp right here is actually going to be in a different sorting section right here. It's going to go straight into the furnace. So that's going to be an item that's just going to be automatically put into the furnace section. And I'm thinking I'm going to put some raw copper, raw iron, raw gold, all that kind of stuff over here as well. So all that stuff, if it goes through the sorter, it's just going to go straight into the furnace section and get smelted. The only thing is, like, if the smelter area gets stocked up and backed up, you really got to make sure that you got a fuel source that's you're able to access it and put some fuel in there, or it's just going to get backed up really quickly. So you want to make sure to keep an eye on that. I think we're going to do glass, sand here, and then we're going to do smooth, regular, and then cobblestone. I think that's what we're going to do. So the first one doesn't need to go to the smelter, so we can actually save ourselves some hoppers here. Go straight down, and I'm going to use some chests like this. I'm going to make sure it goes to where it needs to go though, and we can't go underneath. It's always good to start where you're going. I've said that in the video earlier today and did not listen to my advice, so let's redo this here. Let's go like that. Like that. That works. There we go. I realized later that I needed to put a hopper right there. And next would be sand. Me personally, I don't really use a lot of sand. But what we're going to need to do is put a straight hopper down. We're going to put a double chest coming over here. Again, kind of start where we're going to be going here. Oop. I feel like that's a decent amount for sand. These hoppers are not going to unload into these, so we're good. And then we can use this space to go out to where we need it to go. All right, and then the extra sand, once this gets full, which, I mean, that's a lot of sand. But once that gets full, it'll eventually get overflowed into the thing to get turned into glass and eventually go back into the sorter and get placed where it needs to go. Most of my glass I get from trading with villagers anyway, so it's not really that big a deal for me. However, if this does get overfilled over time with sand, you don't want it to gum up your system, and that way it's a good way to get rid of it, have it get smelted, put into something else, because we're most likely not going to run out, or we're not going to stock up on glass anytime soon. The next one should be, I think I said smooth stone for the next one. So on this one, so these need to go down. This one for smooth, we can actually save these hoppers. We got to keep that line going because that connects from the other one. But we can go down, put a double chest here. Oop, no, double chest here. Actually, since that's already there, let's just do that. Glad I spotted that. Okay, so that needs to go there. But the downside to that is with this hopper here, that's not going to work. So I can figure out a solution. That in there like that. That in there like that. And we're good. Set. And we can go back out to this right here. That. Let's do that. This one we can go out the side. This one we can go here. And not the biggest inventory space, but that's our regular stone. As complicated as that looks, that's solved for the most part. Okay, so we have to go back up here and then put in our items. Let's see here. Do we have enough redstone? 1, 2, 3, 4. Just enough. Okay. Next to our glass, right? Yeah. Again, this might not be enough room. I mean, we might have to just... What I might end up doing is, if I get a lot of something, specifically smooth stone, what I'll end up doing is just getting some shulker boxes, loading them up, and then just leaving them in that chest with the shulker box basically just full of whatever it is, if it's like overly full. Alright, so that's basically it. And then we have the overage here, which will eventually go to the furnace. We'll start putting in some of the stuff from our sorter. So for right now, what I want to do is I'm going to close this off. I'm going to put a couple chests right here for overage, just in case something doesn't go through or the wrong thing goes through. And just in case, might as well. Boom, done. Okay, so that's gonna be our overage section. Now all I have to do is basically grab the items that I want to have go through the sorter. So like all of these things basically need to go through the sorter. But basically what I can do instead of having to go through all of this is I just take these shulker boxes and then I can go up to this section right here, even any of these hopper lines. I mean, I can even go over here and get up here and just put these on here. And they will start unloading and going into this chest right here. Sometimes this one will get super full, and eventually it kind of gets gummed up, but usually it gets down to this section with this chest mechanism right here. It kind of slows it down to the point where it's only getting through one item at a time, and then eventually it's just going to go where it needs to go, and that is it. But now that we got this whole sorting section pretty much done, we can start organizing some of our stuff, getting to that next level. All right, now let's try to get onto our archaeology